What is going on, guys? I am Mlb Picks, and today we're going to be giving you guys the best available picks, spreads, and player props in today's videos. To start things off, we're going to go right to the NHL. There's only one game today. It's pretty underwhelming if you ask me. You have the Flyers taking on the Blackhawks. Very, very underwhelming matchup, like I just said. I just saw a report that Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat are arguably not going to be Blackhawks next year. To me, that's absolutely wild. But let me just get into the lines for this game. So the Flyers are at plus 115 odds on the money line, and the Blackhawks are minus 135. To me, it doesn't make any sense that the Blackhawks are at minus 135. This is just a team, to me, that they've struggled all year long, and Philly just came off a 4-1 win against the Penguins. And, Chicago just lost to San Jose 4-1 in embarrassing fashion. They've been getting outshot almost every single game. Tonight you have Kevin Lankinen in between the pipes for Chicago. I'm not too confident in Kevin Lankinen. I would never probably bet on that guy. Last year, sure, but this year he's just been absolutely brutal. So, the first pick that I would take for tonight out of my picks is the Philadelphia Flyers money line. This is the team that I would back tonight for sure at plus 115, coming off a big win against Pittsburgh. They're riding high right now. I think they have the momentum here. And again, let's look at the stats. They've won the last 6 games against Chicago. This is a team that's just had Chicago's number the last little while. I'll even pull up some more numbers here. Where is it here? Philly, they have dominated Chicago, and Chicago in their last 10 home games are 1-9. So at home, they've just been brutal. You could tell that the fans have kind of clued out. They want the first overall pick. Just give me the Flyers money line here at plus money. I think that's a safe bet. But moving on, I got a couple, MLB picks for today. The slate is actually pretty loaded. There's 8 games. So the first one that I want to touch on here is the Phillies taking on the Rockies. This game to me screams. I know it's a lot closer. It seems a lot. The Rockies coming into this year, everyone wrote them off as probably a bottom 5 team, but here they are, 10-5 to start the season. Chris Bryant, he's a perennial superstar. He's a former MVP in this league. CJ Cron, one of the more underrated hitters the last couple of years. The guy's just turned into a star in my eyes. Randall Grichuk, former Blue Jay. This guy can give you 80 RBIs. I like Ryan McMahon. I really do like this lineup, but when you're looking at this loaded Phillies lineup when they're going, especially coming off a heated loss last night, 1-0, I think they're motivated here. You got Castellanos, Bryce Harper, Rice Hoskins. You even have Kyle Schwarber batting like 6th in your lineup. That's just absolutely deadly. I got to go here with the Philadelphia Phillies first 5 money line here. It's just crazy how they're at minus 175, but I'm backing the Phillies here all the way, coming off a heated loss. Give me first 5 money line with the Philadelphia Phillies. The next matchup that we have that it's tight, but I do like for sure. I've been betting the Cardinals the last couple of games, and they just have not been able to get the job done. Nolan Arenado is probably a top 3 MVP caliber player right now. Paul Goldschmidt is great. Tommy Edman, one of the better reliable, leadoff hitters. But you're going up against Mad Max. And believe it or not, the Cardinals are at home. They're heavy underdogs, which I think is intriguing to a lot of bettors out there. But I got to go with the Mets here. There's no way in hell that the Mets are losing this game in my eyes. Max Scherzer is incredible. He's one of the best pitchers out there. It's probably, if you really want to take the plus 1.5 spread on the Cardinals, you probably could. I think that's not too bad of a pick here. But I'm probably going to go with the New York Mets first 5 money line. I just think Max Scherzer's the way better starting pitcher here. And I think we're going to see it tonight. Mikolas has had a pretty good start to the year, but I'm not betting Mikolas over Scherzer. There's absolutely no way. So in this one, I got the Mets first 5 money line. And then the other game that I'm going to target is the Cleveland Guardians taking on the LA Angels. I love the Cleveland Guardians. They do have a losing record, but you look at their lineup and it's just absolutely not fair. Jose Ramirez is an MVP caliber player this year. He's been red hot out the gate. I think I saw a stat where he's batting 400. just absolutely ridiculous. Franmil Reyes is a underrated DH. Ahmed Rosario, Miles Straw. They just have a lot coming at you at once, and I think they're top 5 so far in runs scored. They're going up against Michael Lorenzen, who has a 4.82 ERA, and Shane Bieber's on the mound for the Cleveland Guardians. And guess who is the underdog in this one? It's actually the Cleveland Guardians. So to me, I think this is a no-brainer at plus 110 odds. I'm taking the Cleveland Guardians money line, first 5 money line, no doubt about it. Shane Bieber is just absolutely unbelievable. I'm kind of like, to get better odds, I think I'm just going to take the Cleveland Guardians money line. They get so many runs, in Lorenzen averaging basically 5 ERAs. You got to take the gamble here. I'm going to take the Cleveland Guardians here first 5 money line, or if you really want for the better odds, you take the Cleveland Guardians money line straight up. And then, of course, the other game that I'm kind of leaning towards, and I'm not really sure yet, just looking at the odds, I mean, the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, Merrill Kelly versus Walker Buehler. I love Walker Buehler, man. He could be a top 10 pitcher in the league. Last year was crazy to think in a rotation he was behind Kershaw and Mad Max. And they didn't get the job done. They didn't win the World Series, but guess what? That's baseball. It happens. Merrill Kelly's a great pitcher. Coming out the gate with a .59 ERA. I mean, the D-backs to me are kind of like the Rockies. I mean, they're 6-10, but they're not like the Rockies, they're like the Rangers. They're 6-10. I mean, like Peralta, Kettle Marte, Seth Beer, that's a badass name. I absolutely love it. But I mean, you just got to take the Dodgers here, first 5 money line. Or even if you really want to get the better odds, you take the first 5.5 run line. I think that's the easier option there. I know it's probably at minus 150, minus 160, but Walker Buehler's the real deal here. And he's just that good of a pitcher. So far, my NHL picks, I got Flyers money line at plus 110. I'm going with the Cleveland Guardians first 5 money line. I'm going with the New York Mets first 5 money line, and I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies first 5 money line. So those are my baseball and hockey picks for tonight. And now we're gonna go to the court. Damn it, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I'm gonna start it off with the spreads that I like. I mean, this is a tough one, but I mean, like the Celtics and the Nets. Let's talk about it. The Celtics are up 3-0. I don't see the Nets getting swept here. No doubt about it. I think the Nets are going to come out hot. Kevin Durant, he's been getting shut down pretty brutally. I think this is going to tarnish his legacy if he gets swept. So I don't see it happening tonight. I'm leaning here the Nets -1 on the spread or the Nets money line. I think the Nets win this game. I don't see Boston winning it. I just think that Steve Nash is going to adjust. Maybe he could even mimic what Ime Udoka has been doing with KD with Jason Tatum. Maybe you get 2 guys on him, get him a little aggressive early, but I got the Brooklyn Nets winning this game straight up. I'm going to take the Brooklyn Nets with the money line here. Up next we got is the Raps and the Sixers. I mean, the Raps, it's -8 for Philly. I think that's a little bit too much. I mean, you could maybe take Philly money line as a safe bet here. But if you really want to get the value, I think I'm going to take the Raps +8. And now I don't know if it's just me being in Toronto and being biased, but I think the first 2 games in Philly were an anomaly. I mean, they were uncharacteristically unbelievable offensively. Tyrese Maxey dropping like 30, Tobias Harris dropping 22. They were shot, I think, 49% from 3 and 55 from the field in both games. I just don't see that happening again tonight. I think Scotty Barnes, I think Nick Nurse's system, he's going to tighten up defensively, like what we saw in Game 3. And Joel Embiid is hurt, guys. He's hurt, and he has a torn ligament in his thumb. I see this being a close game. I don't see Philly winning by 8. So for me, I'm either taking the over in the Raptors game, but I really do like, so let's look at, so the over here, it's saying it's at 211.5. That's tough. I mean, the other one was, I think, at 207, and they couldn't go over that. So I'm just going to take the +8 here for the Raptors, because if you really want the Sixers money line, it's -350. I don't think anyone's going to do that unless you parlay it. But I'm taking the Raptors at +8 here. I think they keep it really, really close. And I think it's just going to be an exciting game through and through. So I'm going to take the Raptors +8 on that one. And then we go to the last matchup of the night, the Mavericks and the Jazz. If I really had to take, I mean, I'm taking Dallas -3 here. I just think that Dallas is going to win this game. I think Luka Doncic at home, he's a different beast. If you even want to take the money line at -155, you can do it. I mean, like the stats prove it. Like Utah is 3-11-1 ATS, especially on the road. They're not good against a spread. I just think even Utah in their last 9 games versus Dallas, they're 1-8. They've just been struggling going on the road to Dallas, and Luka Doncic is definitely motivated. I think he's going to have a huge game tonight. Maxi Klebum, he's not going to drop 8 threes, but I think he's still going to have a great game. I got Dallas with -3, or you could even take the Dallas money line. I think those are two of the favorable bets in these ones. So those are the game picks that I have. Now I'm going to go into the player props. I know a lot of you guys out there love looking at some of the player props. The first one that I'm actually going to take is Kevin Durant over 28.5 points. Now, hold on a second. People are going to say, Chris, why are you taking Kevin Durant here? He's been garbage the whole series. Let me tell you, last year in an elimination game against the Milwaukee Bucks, he had 48 points and he shot 36 attempts. Like, the guy, I don't know. I mean, in elimination games, he's averaging 29.5 points per game in his career. 21 field goal attempts on 32% usage rate is also the average. And again, like I mentioned, the last elimination game, he dropped 48 points on 36 field goal attempts. I think he's going to be a lot more invested and in the game here. I think he's going to be aggressive early on. I think he's going to be a little bit, he has to be a little bit more selfish here if Brooklyn wants to get the win. I see Kevin Durant, like I mentioned before, I think the Nets win this game, and I think the big reason is Kevin Durant goes off here. So I'm going to say that Kevin Durant goes over 28.5 points. The next player prop that I have is in the Utah Jazz and Dallas Mavericks game. I'm going with Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points at -125 odds. I just think that this is a no-brainer. He's been over this line in 7 of 7 away playoff games in his NBA career. And as the games get a little bit more desperate, guys like Donovan Mitchell, guys like Jason Tatum, guys like Kevin Durant, the superstar players, they chuck up more shots. And you could say what you want about this Utah team. Donovan Mitchell in clutch situations has just been incredible. So I see him getting well over 27.5 points. If you even want to get the plus money and put him for 30 points, I think that's a smart bet as well. If you really want to risk it and go maybe parlay Donovan Mitchell getting 30 and Utah getting the win, I don't necessarily know the odds, but if you really are feeling lucky there, that's maybe another bet that I wouldn't mind taking. But I'm rooting with Donovan Mitchell here. I think if they want to make this a game and make it a contest, Donovan Mitchell has to drop at least over 27.5 points. So I'm going with Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points. That's another star here. And then here I'm going to fade Jaylen Brown under 24.5 points. The guy has only averaged 20.3 versus Brooklyn, and that just says it himself. He's averaging 3 less field goal attempts because of how many attempts Jason Tatum has taken. Marcus Smart has got a little more aggressive. Even Al Horford. I mean, last game, that was a write-off, shooting like 3 times. But other than that, I mean, his field goal attempts has dipped tremendously, and I think 24.5 is just a little too high for Jaylen Brown. I think they're going to, like I mentioned, I think Brooklyn is going to tighten up defensively, and I think Jaylen Brown, the numbers speak for themselves, only averaging 20.3 on a not so great defensive Brooklyn Nets team. So I think this line is too high. I'm fading Jaylen Brown here under 24.5 points. Another one that I have too is Jason Tatum over 5.5 assists. The guy's just been passing it unbelievably since the series started. He's covered this line in all 3 of the games against Brooklyn in this playoffs. I think he had 8, 10, and 6 respectfully. He's just been a problem. He's found his playmaking ability. I know that they've been double covering him, and he's opening up the floor a little more, passing to guys like Marcus Smart, passing to guys like Grant Williams in the corner 3. I just think Jason Tatum. I think 5.5 is just a little too low. I got Jason Tatum over 5.5 assists. I think that's a pretty good bet. And the last one that I'm going to take, I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily like it. I do. I think he's going to be really aggressive tonight. Pascal Siakam over 23.5 points. I think the line is too low. I think I would probably play it to 24.5, but maybe not 25.5. I just think they share the rock a little more than other teams. Gary Trent has been a little more aggressive. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned with KD and Mitchell, you need Siakam to win this game or even make it close. If Siakam is not going, then this game might be another 20-point blowout. So I'm really rooting for Pascal Siakam here to be just as aggressive as he was in Game 3 when he dropped the career 33 or 34 points in his playoff career. So I think he's coming in hot tonight. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Joel Embiid all game. I think he's going to get over 23.5 points. And those are my player props. So the player props I have are Kevin Durant over 28.5 points. I got Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points. I got Jaylen Brown under 24.5 points. Jason Tatum over 5.5 assists. And Pascal Siakam over 23.5 points. If any of you guys missed it throughout the video, I'm going to put all my picks down in the comments section and down in the description. And let's get it, guys. Let's get the bag. This is Twin Labs Picks signing off.